Did you watch the first session? The session I made it yesterday.
Yes.
Everybody watched that first session?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So before we move on to second session, do you have any question regarding that session? Anybody has any question?
No question, teacher.
No question? Yeah.
No.
So anyway, I give a quick glance about the previous session, what we done in the previous session. First of all, we discuss about the assignments that we have. Two assignments for this module. Assignment 1, you have 2 learning outcome, 1 and 2, and assignment 2, you have 3 and 4 learning outcomes. For learning outcome 1, so I divide 3 sessions to finish or to cover learning outcome 1 information, and the next 3 sessions will be for your learning outcome 2, right? So nearly 6 session for your learning outcome 1 and 2, and then later on I'm going to give you a revision session. In that session, I will discuss about your assignment structure, your outline, whatever questions you have regarding assignments. I will cover that things. All right. And one more thing I want to repeat that I also mentioned yesterday is that I will give you outline once we finish the first learning outcome. All right. And we will do your assignments time to time. All right. So whatever information we have finished, and I think that information belongs to your assignments, then we will open assignments and then we start doing assignments, right? Hopefully tomorrow or after tomorrow, I will send you I will send you the assignment. Can you tell me who is the monitor? Can you tell me who is the monitor? Who's the monitor?
We haven't decided yet.
Oh, you haven't decided yet. Okay. Because instead of sending email to Miss Nguyen, because normally if I need to send you any information, I have to send information to Miss Nguyen first, and then Miss Nguyen send to you. So better I directly send to you any information if I need to contact you. Do you have a learning management system account?
No, teacher.
Don't have. Okay, so I have a list of email. So let me check that. So in this file, that's all your emails, right? Anybody who is missing from this file, please let me know. If your name is not in the list, let me know. All right. So that's your email. What I will do, instead of sending email to the class monitor, I will send email or whoever is mentioned in this list. All right. So so let's start with the attendance sheet. So let me find your attendance sheet. So here is your attendance sheet. Can you see that?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So all the students, please tell me number 1, number 2. Okay, so we continue. As I said, side by side, I will also give you your assignments instructions. So once we finish any information, So once you got the assignments, we start doing your assignments. So hopefully today, tomorrow, you're gonna get your assignments, right? So now I'm gonna give you quick review on the previous session, lecture 1, what we done in our lecture 1. So first thing we cover about, of course, the previous session was introduction, right? So in the first session, we learned about what is the meaning of management accounting. Then we looked at the scope of management accounting. So in other words, you can say that what is the role of management accountant? What management accountant can do that, right? The third thing that we cover is the principles. So there are 4 principles we have. On the basis of principles, management accounting involved to make whatever decisions or whatever techniques management accounting they apply to maximize the value of the company, right? So these 4 principles involve relevance, communication, trust, and value, right? And the last, which is 4th thing we covered in the previous session, was a difference between uh, uh, management accounting and financial accounting. You know that accounting basically divided into 2 parts. So there are 2 types of accounting: management and the financial accounting. So one of the basic ideas to understand the difference between financial and the management accounting is financial accounting for external users, right? And management accounting mainly for internal users. So management accounting provides informations to the internal users. So whoever is it part of internal users can be able to make a decision, right? And financial accounting provides informations to external user. Whoever isn't external users can use financial accounting information, right? Uh, did you finish principle of accounting? Did you finish that subject?
Yes.
You already finished? Say something. Finish principle of accounting?
Yes.
No. Yes.
Someone said
Yes.
no. Someone said yes. Why no? Why no? You are the new students, or you haven't finished yet, or I don't know. So make sure uh, you remember all the information that you learn in the principle of accounting, the basic information about principle of accounting. All right, this is very important. Right. So I hope in principle of accounting you learn about financial statement. Right. So mainly financial statement provides informations to the external users. All right. So financial accounting is a process to prepare financial statement. All right. So in this semester, we're not going to learn about financial accounting. We learn about management accounting. All right. So that's the thing that we learned in the previous session. So now we move on to the second session. Before we move on to second session, do you have any question? Anybody has any question?
No question.
No question? Everything is clear?
Clear.
Okay. So
Yeah, it's good.
keep in your mind, everything is clear to you. Because remember, you have assignments, but sometime when students they have a problem in assignments, when they're writing their assignments, some students they try to copy paste from other students, they try to copy paste from internet, or I feel that information I did not provide you because you are providing a very good way of explaining the informations that maybe I did not give you in the class. If you have that kind of information in your assignment, so I can give you oral test. Oral test means interviews, right? So I can give you interviews. So in interviews, I'm gonna ask you that kind of question that I am teaching you in the class, right? So keep in your mind this thing. So before you say, yes, teacher, everything is clear, make sure you really understand what I'm going to say, right? Whatever I taught you in the previous any kind of session, right? So take these subjects so seriously, right? If you say yes, I understand, means you really understand. If you say no, it's okay. You can say, teacher, I did not understand. I can explain the information again in the different context with the different examples. As long as you understand, that's fine. I can repeat one thing again with different examples. It's not an issue, all right? So, but if you say yes, then I will move on, right, to next session. So before you say yes, make sure you really think that you really got the information. Right? So let's start with the second session. Okay. So this is number 2. This is second session. So second session is about the management accounting system, right? Different types of management accounting, right? So it's so remember, all the session we follow whatever I have explained you in the previous session, right? So make sure you remember when I explain you about the assignment discussions. So all the topics I already provided you in that assignment discussions related to your learning outcome 1 and 2, right? So we follow that's kind of order to complete your assignment 1, right? So second one is types of management accounting system, right? And one more thing, if anything you do not understand, so make sure you stop me, right, in the middle, no problem, all right? Don't wait to finish the session, all right? You can stop me anytime, all right, at any place if you do not understand anything, all right? So I will try to explain you in other simple words with the other simple examples, right? But the important thing is that you understand, right? So types of management accounting system. So there are 3 types of management accounting system, right? So in which I would say that management accounting operated. So you can also say that instead of saying different types, you can also say that elements of uh, management accounting system. That's also okay, right? So let's start with the first elements of first type. So there are 3 types: cost accounting system. Second one is inventory management system. And third one is price optimizing system, all right? First one is a cost accounting system. In this cost accounting system, we're gonna learn about the cost, how many types of cost we have. If you want to calculate, for example, if you want to produce one product, let's say this pen, what will be the cost of this pen? That's we're gonna understand in this cost accounting system, right? Second one is an inventory management system. In inventory management system, we're gonna understand what is the meaning of inventory, right? And why it's important, right? And besides that, we're going to learn about there are 2 kinds of inventory management system we use to manage the inventory, which is JIT and JIC, right? These are the inventory management system. And the third thing, third elements or third type, we're going to understand it's uh, about price optimizing system. Third one, price optimizing system In this, we're going to understand how company determine the price of product, right? How company decide the price of any kinds of product, right? So let's start with the first, which is cost accounting system. Cost accounting system. So in this cost accounting, first thing, we're going to understand the meaning. Now, what is the meaning of cost accounting system? Cost accounting system, basically, it's a system that helps us to understand what will, okay, with the help of cost accounting system, we're going to understand how we determine the cost of product. Let's say this is the product, right? Before I produce this product, I need to estimate how much going to be a cost of this particular product, right? So how to determine the cost, right? How we estimate or how do we determine the cost? That's the ideas behind the cost accounting system, all right? But in this one, it's really important to know what is cost, all right? What is the meaning of cost? So remember, cost is the amount of money that we spend. Amount of money that we spend to produce product and service, right? I repeat, the amount of money we spend to produce product or service, that's called a cost, in very simple words, right? Okay, that's the meaning of cost. Now, next is what are the types of cost we have. Next is types of cost, right? Types of cost. The cost, we can call it types of cost, or we can also call it cost classification, right? Cost classification. So it means cost divided into different parts, right? Or that's parts or types, right? Okay. So now, types of cost. So there are three types of cost, or cost divided into three categories, right? First one is by operating. By operating. Second one is by behavior. The third one is by decision making, right? So we have three types of cost, or cost divided into three parts, three categories, right? Now, the first one is by operating, cost divided on the behalf of operating things, right? Now, what does it mean operating? Operating means any kinds of activities that belongs to only production, right? Activity belongs to production, or activity belongs to product and service of the company called operating, right? I repeat, any kinds of cost which belongs to product and service, that's called operating cost, right? Or any kinds of activity or action relate to the company product and service, that's called operating activity, right? Now, in operating activity, um, so we're gonna, of course, we're gonna talking about the cost. So we have two types of cost using operating activity. These two types of cost called manufacturing cost and non-manufacturing cost. Right? Manufacturing cost and non-manufacturing cost. Right? Another name of manufacturing cost, we also call it cost of goods sold. Right? That's the another name of manufacturing cost. Right? Now, what does it mean, manufacturing cost? Manufacturing cost is the cost which we spend when we manufacture the product, when we produce the product. We also call it production cost. So any kinds of costs which involve in manufacturing directly or indirectly, right? Any kinds of manufacturing cost, direct or indirect, involved in production, that's called cost called manufacturing cost, right? So we can say that manufacturing cost divided into two parts, right? Direct, right? Direct manufacturing and indirect manufacturing. Direct manufacturing, indirect manufacturing. Direct manufacturing is directly involved in production, right? For example, this is my product, which is one pen. If I'm going to produce this pen, what kind of cost involved in this pen? Directly involved in this pen. Three costs, mainly. Material, labor, and other direct costs, right? So direct cost divided into three parts. There are three types of direct cost, which is direct material, direct labor, and some other direct cost, right? What is direct material? Direct material means, of course, a raw material. You know raw material? Have you heard raw material?
Yes.
Right? If you do not know raw material, the meaning of raw material means any kinds of material which haven't used in production, right? Or any kinds of material that cannot be used for something. We can't use it, right? Because it's the nature of that material is raw, right? We have to convert into product. We can't use it as a raw, right? Direct labor. Now, what does it mean, direct labor? Direct labor means any kinds of person, labor, human, right, involved in production. That's called direct labor. So what is the example of direct labor? The example of direct labor is the worker working on machine to produce product. Because the worker who's working on the machine known as a direct labor because directly involved in production, directly doing that work, not indirectly. Right? So direct labor means example of direct labor is worker working on machine. Right? Third one is other direct cost. Any other kinds of cost besides direct material and direct labor. Okay, so we continue. So now what is the other direct cost? Any other kinds of direct cost besides direct material and labor called other direct cost. So what are the examples of direct cost? The example of direct, remember, indirect cost, I'm talking about here, other direct cost, right? Other direct cost. In this other direct cost, there is no any material cost, no any labor cost because material and labor are here, right? So other direct cost, the example of other direct cost is electricity, right? Electricity involved in production because we use machine. In order to run machine, either we need electricity, I mean, we need a fuel, could be electricity or could be a gas or could be a petrol or any other things, all right? So if that's kind of expenses involved in producing products, that's called other direct cost, right? So that's the ideas behind manufacturing cost, right? So um, so these are direct manufacturing cost, right? So as I said before, these are direct cost. Remember, direct cost is a combination of direct material, direct labor, and other direct expense. Right? Now, we talk about indirect cost because as I said before, manufacturing cost divided into two types of costs, direct manufacturing and indirect manufacturing, right? So now here is indirect, right? Indirect. So indirect divided into three parts. There are three types of indirect manufacturing cost, right? These three types involve indirect material, right? Indirect labor, right? And others indirect cost, right? So indirect material cost, indirect labor cost, and other indirect cost. So now what is indirect material? Any other kinds of material which involve in production, indirectly involved in production. Remember, both direct and indirect part of production, but not directly involved, right? Uh, if you still confused, what is the meaning of production? How can we understand things involved in production or not involved in production? How can we understand? So keep in your mind, keep in your mind keep in your mind another way to understand what is the meaning of manufacturing. Remember, any kinds of cost that belongs to factory, any kinds of cost that belongs to factory, we also call it factory cost, That's called production or manufacturing. Any kinds of cost that belongs to office. Office means the place where we do not produce product. Factory is a place where we produce production, right? And office is a place where is normally administration work involved, right? So that's called the office. So any kinds of production cost means factory cost. Whatever is happening in factory, that may have direct impact or indirect impact. Direct impact could be material, direct material, labor, and overheads. Indirect means indirect material, labor, and overheads. All right. So that's the way to find out that what is the meaning of manufacturing or what is the meaning of production. Right. Now we move back to the indirect material. First, indirect material. So any kinds of material which is indirectly involved in production, that's called indirect material cost. Now, what is example of indirect material? So there are different examples, but I'm going to give you very basic example. All right, that's help you to understand indirect material. So the basic example is wastage. Wasting raw material called indirect material. We are, for example, we are producing a product. So let's say I am producing a product. Let's say my product is a blue pen, right? So when I am making this blue pen, by mistake, I add some chemical that change the color of this pen. So let's say the color turns into, I don't know, maybe purple. So means my blue ink damage, destroy, wastage, right? That's the example, that's the meaning of wastage. When the worker, when they are working on the product, or when they are producing product, if they're gonna waste any product or they're gonna destroy any kinds of material, that's called indirect material, right? I can give you another example. For example, mobile phone. When we buy mobile phone, when we go to shops or markets to buy mobile phone, you know that the seller of mobile phone company not just gonna give us a phone, right? So that seller, they're gonna put that phone in a box. When company manufacture any kinds of product, they're gonna put that product in a box, right? So that's box. Company produce that box as well. But box, whatever material to make that box, that material is an indirect material. And whatever material involved in this phone, that's direct material, right? Material involved in this phone is a direct material, and material involved to make the box of the phone, that's called indirect material, right? So mainly packaging. So it's going to pack the product. So that's could be part of the indirect material. Next one is a indirect labor. Now, what is the meaning of indirect labor? Again, anybody in a factory indirectly involved in production, that's called indirect labor. So who could be an indirect labor? Indirect labor could be a supervisor, right? Supervisor. We need a supervisor to look after the people, workers, make sure they work on time, make sure they, if they have any kinds of problems, supervisor help to solve that kind of issue or any kinds of problem, right? So we need a supervisor. Supervisor do not produce product. Supervisor just look at or control over the workers in a factory, right? So whatever money we pay to the supervisor, is indirect labor cost. Another example of indirect labor cost could be security guards who look after the factory assets. Whatever is assets in a factory could be material, could be machines, could be furniture, or any other kinds of assets which belongs to the factory, right? We need a security guard to look after, to take care of that kind of assets. Whatever money we pay to the security guards, That's called indirect labor, right? Another example of indirect labor means, the example is, so let's say we have some workers, some laborers. So that laborers, they do not produce product because you need to have technical. You must have some skills to produce that product. But we need someone who can carry the raw material from one place to another place, right? For carriage purpose, we need some people. They just only carry material from one place to another place, right? That worker not directly involved in production. That worker is not working on machine, just involved in loading and unloading material. When we need raw material, these kinds of worker will bring raw material to the machines, right? When product is finished, these kind of worker, they bring that material and put it back in the truck or send to another department. All right, so they just not, these kind of people normally involved in kinds of carriage activity, right? Carry the stuff one to another place. So that could be example of the indirect labor. So the idea is that besides direct labor, whoever is working in a factory, that's person cost known as indirect labor cost, right? Next one is other indirect cost. Other indirect cost. Other indirect cost is involved. I'm going to give you a direct example. The example is renting a factory. I hope you know the rent. If we're renting a factory, we have to pay rent every period. So the renting cost is known as other indirect material, right? So rent is your indirect cost, right? Next is besides rent, another example of indirect cost is depreciation. Have you heard the word called depreciation? Do you know that? Depreciation?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So depreciation on assets is known as indirect manufacturing cost, right? Another example is insurance premium. Insurance premium or cost of insurance. So let's say company bought insurance for the machine, and every period company has to pay some money to the insurance company, right? Because we bought it, that insurance, right? So whatever money we pay to the insurance company, that money is cost, of course, because we're paying, right? So that's known as indirect manufacturing cost, as other indirect manufacturing cost, right? So that's the example of other indirect manufacturing cost, right? So all these kinds of cost known as indirect, right? So remember, so the idea is, keep in your mind, we have another name of indirect cost. We also call it overheads. Overheads. All right. So the idea is manufacturing cost. Manufacturing cost divided into three kinds of cost. All right. Direct material, direct labor, and overhead cost. So remember, this is the conclusion of manufacturing cost. If someone asks you what is involved in manufacturing cost is a combination of direct material, direct labor, and overheads. This is the quick and summarize or summary to understand the manufacturing cost. But if you want to know much more detail, Then of course, manufacturing cost, direct and indirect. Direct means direct material, direct labor, others. Indirect material, indirect labor, and others. All right. So material, direct, indirect, labor, direct, indirect, and other manufacturing also direct, indirect. Right. So that's the ideas behind manufacturing cost. Right. Manufacturing cost. Now, second part of operating cost is a non-manufacturing cost. So maybe I write down here. Non-manufacturing cost. Another name of non-manufacturing cost, we also call it period cost, or make it so simple to understand, office. The cost which belongs to office is a non-manufacturing. Cost which belongs to factory is a manufacturing, right? So in this non-manufacturing cost, we have a different types of cost. So the first is administration cost. Second one is marketing and advertising. Cost related to marketing and advertising. The cost related to distribution. Cost related to distribution, whatever money we spend to distribute the products, right? Now, the first is administration cost. Administration cost means whoever is working in in an office, the salary of that office worker known as administration cost. Salary, whatever salary of the people who are working in an office. This could be a human resource department, account department, IT department, marketing department, anybody, any person working in an office, and whatever money we pay to that person, that's known as administration cost, right? Another example of administration cost could be a depreciation. But of course, the depreciation for any kinds of assets which used in office. Here also we have depreciation here. But of course, this depreciation for assets which used in a factory. But here, any kinds of assets has the depreciation, and that assets used in office, that's known as administration cost, right? That's known as administration cost. Okay. Next is a marketing and advertising cost. You know, marketing and advertising, which belongs to the selling product, the activity involved in selling, right? So that's marketing and advertising. So marketing and advertising is not a manufacturing cost, it's a non-manufacturing cost. Now, third one is a distribution. Product is ready to sell. Now we have to deliver that product, maybe deliver to the customers, or maybe deliver to the centers, right? Or to the supermarkets or any other place where we can easily meet the consumers, right? So whatever money we spend for distribution, product is a non-manufacturing cost, all right? So that's the ideas, the basic ideas behind the types of cost by operating, right? So now we move on to the next types of cost. The next types of cost. The next type of cost, number 2, is a by behavior. By behavior, right? So by behavior, cost divided into 4 parts, right? By behavior, cost divided into 4 parts. The first one is a variable cost. Second one is the fixed cost. Third one is a semi-variable or semi-fixed. Semi-variable cost or semi-fixed cost. And the fourth one is the step cost, right? So let's start with the first, which is variable cost. Now, what is the meaning of variable cost? Variable cost means any kinds of cost which change as per the level of activity. In other words, any kinds of cost which increase or decrease as per the level of production, which means we produce more, cost increase, we produce less, cost decrease, we do not produce anything, zero cost, right? So that's the ideas behind a variable. Variable means something change, another name of variable is a marginal. Sometimes we call it marginal cost, but keep it simple, so variable. Okay, so variable cost. So how can we understand? So I'm going to draw a very short and small graph. With the help of graph, we're going to understand. Right? So on x-axis we have quantity, right? Quantity, and y-axis we have a cost. So the curve like this, that's indicate the variable cost. So again, variable cost means if your quantity of products or production increase, number of production increase. So quantity means number of products, or in other words, level of activity. We also call it level of activity. Also call any kind of activities which change. So just keep it simple, number of products, all right? So let's say this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 products. And here is the cost, let's say $5, $10, $15, and $20. All right, this is cost in dollars. So you can see that if you produce, let's say, 1 product, your cost is nearly $5, right? If you produce 3 products, and your cost is gonna be around, I don't know, like 13 or 14. If you produce 4 products, your cost is gonna be around nearly 20, that's it, right? So the idea is that as quantity increase, your cost increase. As quantity decrease, your cost decrease. As quantity zero, do not produce anything, right? Do not produce anything. Your cost will be zero, right? That's the ideas behind a variable cost, all right, which change as per the level of activities or any other kinds of activity, right? That's called a variable cost. So now what are what are the example of variable cost? So the example of variable cost is a direct material, because if you produce more products, if you produce more product, you require more material. As a result, your material cost increase. If you produce less products, that means you gonna use less material. As a result, your cost gonna be reduced. You will not produce any products. You don't have to buy any material. Cost will be zero, right? Another example of variable cost is a direct labor. All right. If you want to produce more products, you need more people, more cost, because you have to pay money. You will produce less products, you need less labor. As a result, less cost. You do not produce any product, you do not need worker. The labor cost is zero, right? That's the ideas behind a variable cost, right? Direct cost could be a variable cost, like as electricity, cost of electricity. That could be a variable cost, because if machine will run more, electricity or fuel, we have to pay more. If machine run less, of course, we're gonna less fuel or less electricity or whatever, right? So that's the ideas behind variable cost. Now, fixed cost. Fixed cost is any kinds of cost that remain unchanged, no matter level of activity increase or decrease. No matter we produce more product or less product, that cost will be unaffected. That's called a fixed cost. So what could be example of a fixed cost? Here again, number of products or quantity, and here is the cost. So this is the fixed cost, right? Why we call it fixed cost? As you can see, if we produce one product, my cost is this. I produce two products, cost again this. Three products, cost remain unchanged, all right? No matter I produce more product, less product, or I produce zero products, you can see that my cost remain same. That's called a fixed cost. Right? So what are the examples of a fixed cost? The example of fixed cost is, so let me show you here. Here. So rent, fixed cost. Depreciation, fixed cost. Insurance is fixed cost. So these are mainly fixed cost. So you can also call it fixed manufacturing cost. So some kinds of non-manufacturing cost could be fixed, like as depreciation. Nature of depreciation is fixed, no matter factory or office, right? Salary of the people who are working in an office, that's also kind of fixed cost, right? But distribution is a non-manufacturing cost, right? Distribution. But distribution is not fixed cost, right? Distribution is a variable cost. Why? Because if you want to sell more product, you will distribute more. You distribute more, you pay more, you spend more money, right? So like as one man can deliver one pizza or 10 pizzas, right? The cost of delivering one pizza is much more lower compared to the cost of delivering 10 pizzas, right? So that's why it's a variable cost. Same thing here, marketing and advertising. You do more marketing, more advertising, you spend more money. So that's also a variable cost, right? So remember, non-manufacturing cost doesn't mean that all are fixed. Some fixed, some variable. Same thing here, manufacturing, some fixed, some variable. Okay, so that's the ideas behind a fixed cost. Now, semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost is any kinds of cost which is combination of fixed and variable both. Means which is, it's a half fixed, half variable. Half literally doesn't mean that really half, but partially fixed, partially variable. Right? So I show you the graph. Same thing here. It's a quantity, and it's a cost. Right? Your semi-variable cost looks like this. It's a semi-variable cost. Semi-variable cost means, of course, here. This, whatever money is here, that's cost. It is here. That's also cost. Here, that's also cost. Now, what is the semi-variable? So why this graph is the curve is like a combination of this and this, right? Like this. So we can also simplify this graph like this. Why not from here? Why from here? Because it's a combination of fixed. This is fixed, right? And this is variable. So combination of fixed, this is fixed cost, and from here until here, it's a variable cost. From here until here, variables. From here until here, it's a fixed. So which means here, this is the combination of fixed and variable. So that's why semi-variable cost, right? So until here, the fixed. From here, here, right? It's a fixed, and then from here, variable. Here, it is variable, right? So that's the semi-variable cost, combination of fixed and variable both. Now, what could be example of semi-variable cost? So the best example for semi-variable cost is a so let me give you a very general example first, and then I'll give example from company point of view. So the general example is your internet, not Wi-Fi, your internet, which is 4G, mobile, right? Internet for your mobile. So what happened with this internet plan? For example, every month you pay 100,000 Vietnam dong to the internet company, let's say Mobifone, right? In this 100,000 Vietnam dong 1 month, company gives you around, I don't know, let's say 2,000 megabytes, which means 2 gigabytes, right? So 2,000 megabytes is your internet limits for 100,000, right? Let's say you use 2,100 megabytes. So how much company gonna charge? Of course, company will charge 100,000 for 200 MB, which is your plan, right? But you are using extra 100 MB, right? But here you are using extra 100 MB. Right? For example, company charge, I don't know, company charge maybe 1,000 per MB if you cross the limits. All right. So 100 1,000 Vietnam dong per MB. So I think it's gonna be too much. So don't keep it 100,000. Just keep it 100 MB. So company charge 100 Vietnam dong per MB. So you are using company charge 100 Vietnam. Okay, so we continue with the same example. So if you use up to 200, means you use, 2,000. You use 2,000 less than 2,000, right? Your cost is fixed, right? It's a fixed. You use 2,000, you use 1,900, you use 1,000, you use 500, or you use 1 MB. Your cost is fixed. But if you cross the limits, right, which is here, you cross the limit, you use extra 100. So make sure company charge 100 Vietnam dong for per MB. So which means your cost gonna be 10,000 Vietnam dong for extra 100 megabytes, right? So this is your variable cost. So combination of fixed and variable, it is semi-variable cost. So your semi-variable cost gonna be 110,000 Vietnam dong. That's the example of the semi-variable cost, right? It's a combination of both. Now, from company point of view, what could be example of semi-variable cost? The examples could be the marketing people salary, right? How company pay salary to the people who work for the marketing department. Company pay them salary on behalf of same cost, which is semi-variable cost. What is that? So company will pay them some fixed cost, some variable cost. Fixed cost means every month their salary is fixed, which is quite low, right? So let's say $200, $300. I don't know, for example. But fixed cost, this is fixed cost. And what would be the variable cost for company or the salary? It depends how many products they sell. They sell more products, they earn more commission. Company pay them more money. So that's why company is whatever company pay to worker, to the people who work in a marketing department, that's payments known as semi-variable cost. Right? That's the ideas behind semi-variable cost. Next is a step cost. As you can see, step cost. So we're gonna draw the graph that's following the steps. All right. So this is your step cost. Now, why we call it step cost? So let me explain you why we call it step cost. So as you can see, we have some cost here, like here. So remember, this is cost. This is cost, right? So that's cost, of course, cost. Here also cost. Here also cost, and here also cost. So remember, this is your fixed cost. This is fixed cost. This this also your fixed cost, because it's a fix, right? It's a fixed. Fixed is a horizontal, right? So that's fixed, right? And this means increasing up, all right? So this is variable cost. This is variable cost. And this is variable. Variable means change, increase, because it's going up, increasing, right? So the combination of fixed and variable known as a step cost, right? So how we understand this step cost, right? So let me give you example. What could be step cost, and then I will tell you why it's a combination of both fixed and variable. So the example of step cost is a cost of supervision, right? Supervisor, supervision or supervisor. You know that one supervisor can supervise just a limited products or limited workers. One supervisor cannot supervise unlimited people or unlimited products. All right. So let's say one supervisor can supervise only 1 to 10 products. So one supervisor. If 1 to 20 products, we need 2 supervisors, right? 1 to 30 products, we need 3 supervisors, all right? So idea is one supervisor limit is 10 products. So let's say here 0, 10 products, 20 products, 30 products, all right? So if we have only 10 products, the money we pay to supervisor is here, just a 10 product, right? But now my number of product increase. Let's say it become 15, all right? It's become 15 here. So which means one supervisor is not enough. We need 2, because one supervisor can look only 10 products, and the next 5 we need another. So idea is we need 2 supervisor up to 20 products, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, right? So means if we produce 20 products, my cost also increase. For one supervisor, 2 supervisor. So until here, 2 supervisors. Now, if I'm producing 30 products, which is here, right? So I need third supervisor because 2 supervisor can supervise up to 20 products. So here, right? So which means my cost increase, right? Which is here. So it's a combination of fixed, right? Variable, increase, fix, increase, fix, increase. So idea is that if you produce product in a range, if you stay within the range, like a here, range is 10, right? If you produce product within the range, your cost is fixed, right? Within the range 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, right? Within the range, cost is fixed. But if you cross the range, your cost increase, right? And then another range. You cross the range, right? Within the range, again fix. It's a fix, right? If you cross the range, we need third person, my cost increase, right? And then another range, increase, another increase. So this is called a step cost, right? So cost of supervision is not a fix, is not a variable, and is not a semi-variable. It's a step cost, all right? Now, some of you, now you're confused. How can we find the difference between this semi-variable and step cost? What's the difference between semi-variable and step cost? So remember, in step cost, both fixed and variable, they are parallel. They are parallel to each others, all right? They're together, right? These kind of cost change in a combination of fixed and variable, both. Cost change in a combination of fixed cost and variable cost. But semi-variable cost change, so this is fixed. It's change not in a combination of fixed and variable, all right? So the idea is in semi-variable cost, once a time you cross the fixed cost limit, it will never come back to the fixed cost again. It's keep increasing, it's going up. It's not gonna be fixed again. It's not, right? But in step cost, so step cost, you can also call it step cost like this. So you can call it, start with here. So variable, fixed, variable, fixed, variable, fixed, variable. You can also call it, right? You can instead of drawing this and this, so you can call it variable, fixed, variable, fixed, variable, fixed. It's much more practical, right? So that's mainly the difference. In step cost, both costs move together, but not in a semi-variable. You never come back to the variable fixed cost again in semi-variable cost. So that's mainly the difference. So they both in step cost, both fixed and variable costs occur simultaneously, right? But in semi-variables, it doesn't occur simultaneously, right? So these types of cost called step cost, right? So cost by behavior is finished. So we summarize cost by behavior is a combination of 4 types of cost: variable cost, fixed cost, semi-variable, and step cost, right? Now we move on to third types of cost. Types of cost. The third one is by decision making. any kinds of cost which is involved in a decision making. Means when we're going to make a decision, we have to think about it, right? So decision making, the types, the cost is could be a controllable and uncontrollable. Con Controllable and uncontrollable. Controllable cost is any kinds of cost that we can control. We can increase or decrease, all right? That's also called it variable cost. Variable cost known as a controllable cost. When you're going to make a decision about something, so you have to think about the cost that we can avoid, we can reduce, we can minimize, we can control. Like as direct material, direct labor, direct expense. These are controllable costs. Uncontrollable cost, that cost that's not in our hands. We cannot control it. So mainly fixed cost, known as uncontrollable cost. For example, depreciation. You use machine or not, there is always depreciation expense exist, cost exist. That's called uncontrollable. Another example of uncontrollable cost could be uh, inflation. So inflation means the price of product uh, goes up or value of money goes down, right? Due to some economic reasons. So that's fixed cost. That's also called uncontrollable cost. Next is by decision making. Another one is opportunity cost and sunk cost. I hope you study opportunity cost in your economics. So, but in simple words, opportunity cost is any kinds of cost uh, that's change as per the selection of alternative change, right? Selection of option change. So, if you will not gonna do this, you're gonna do this. But if you're gonna do these things, you lose the opportunity to do another things. So that's known as opportunity cost. All right. So remember, opportunity cost is very important. It's important for decision making. Why? Because we learn something. So let's say we have two options, option one and option two. So we choose option one. So it means we lose opportunity to choose option two. So option two could be a better option, but we lose opportunity. But we learn that option two was better than option one. Sunk cost. Sunk cost means any kinds of cost which is irrecoverable. So learn means recoverable. Recoverable means which could be recovered in future by choosing another option, better option, right? But irrecoverable means any kinds of cost which is not relevant. It's irrelevant cost for decision making. In other words, irrelevant cost, sunk cost is also called irrecoverable because whatever money you spend as an irrecoverable cost, that's completely useless. To spend time and money to think about it, to recover it in future, it's useless. So which cannot be recovered, cannot get it back by changing the option. No matter you do this or that, that cost exists, right? So you cannot minimize it no matter you choose this option or that option. So that's called a sunk cost. Right? So that's called types of cost by decision making. Right? Now, types of cost is finished. All right. Now we move on to the, so that's all about your cost accounting system. Cost accounting system is finished. Now we move on to the next. Next is a inventory management system. So that's types of management accounting system. Right? In types, we do number 2. Right? So number 2 is a inventory management system. Right? Inventory management system. You know that inventory. Inventory means stock, right? Stock is a combination of 3 things. Raw material is your inventory, remember, all right? Second one is a work in process or progress. Work in process. Work in process means unfinished product. Any kinds of product which is not finished yet, still is in the process, still inside the machine, or it's inside the process, right? It hasn't finished yet. You can't use it to sell to the workers, right? So it hasn't finished. So that's called unfinished products. And the third one is a finished products. Finished product means any kinds of product which is ready to use. Raw material means it's a raw. Of course, you can't use it. Right? So that's called inventory. So now, keep in your mind, it's really important to manage inventory. Right? It's really important to manage the inventory, because eventually we're gonna decide the price of product using the cost of inventory. Of course, let's say I wanna sell this product, right? What price I will charge from customers? It depends how much money I spend. And money spent is a combination of 3 things: material, labor, overheads. In this material, labor, and overhead, the most important thing is the material. Majority of cost comes from the material. Is the most important part of the product, because material is good, product is good. But of course, labor also required. But the idea is that if material, we have a good quality of material, then we have a good quality of products. All right. So that's why it's really important to manage inventory, right? So how can we manage inventory? Arrange inventory. So we have 2 methods to manage inventory. Some company use one method, another company use another. Right? First is just in time, JIT, just in time. And next one is JIC, just in time, right? Just in time and just in case, JIT, JIC. Now, what does it mean, just in time? Just in time means we buy inventory, of course, as a raw material or maybe work in process, depends, we buy from another company as a work in process. we buy inventory time to time. We buy inventory time to time. Why we do that? If you are buying inventory time to time, you don't have to spend money to manage inventory. You don't have to spend money to take care or to rent a room to keep your inventory. You can avoid those kind of costs. You can reduce those kind of costs, right? So that's the good thing about just in time. That's the meaning of just in time. Buy inventory time to time. Do not buy inventory all together or in a large quantity. Just in case. Just in case means you buy inventory in large quantity, right? In bulk, right? Together, right? Why? Because you worry, what if there is a high demand in the markets? If high demand increase in the markets, that's high demand is unexpected, right? That's unexpected high demand increase in a market, so we have extra material, but that's not the situation with JIT, right? So we have two types of things here. So now what is the good thing about JIT? Sorry, JIC, good and bad. The good thing about JIC is a less ordering cost. You don't have to spend too much money to order again and again. You just order one time, you can save money. But bad thing, but the bad thing about just in case is you have to spend high holding cost. Right? You have to spend money to hold it, maybe renting or maybe taking care materials, rotations, and air conditions and so on, right? Okay, just in time. So just in time also have some good thing and bad thing. The good thing is it has a low holding cost, right? You don't have to spend money to stock the materials, right? You don't have to spend for store department too much. You don't have to spend for rotations the material. You don't have to spend for the security guard who can take care of the raw material. Why? Because you're not going to hold too much raw material, right? Okay. But the bad thing about just in time is you have a high ordering cost because you're not going to buy quantity in a bulk. You're going to buy material in a small quantity. So you have to order again and again. So if you order again and again, your ordering cost will increase. Ordering cost means the money you spend to order the raw material, right? So that's your ordering cost will increase, right? So now you can see that in JIT, low holding cost. In JIC, high holding cost. In JIT, high ordering cost. In JIC is a low ordering cost, all right? So now the question is, should we order less inventory or high inventory, right? In order to solve these issues, we can apply another model, right? We can apply a model. That model called EOQ. EOQ stands for, E stands for economic, O stands for order, and Q stands for quantity, right? Economic, order, quantity. Economic, order, quantity is a model, or it's a method or approach that help us to find out the optimum size of quantity. All right, means if you order that quantity, you're not going to have a high holding cost or high ordering cost. You can avoid that kind of both kinds of cost that could occur from here to here, right? So I can draw a graph for you to understand this economic order quantity. Of course, here quantity, and here is a cost or price, whatever, right? So let's say you have one cost is here and one cost is here, right? So this is your holding cost. Means if your number of quantity increase, your cost increase, right? And this is your ordering cost. Means if you order less, you have to order again and again. So your cost increase, one, high cost. If you order too much, your cost will reduce less because you don't have to order again. Right? There's two types of cost. So you can see where they cut each others at this point, these points, these points. These points known as EOQ. So which means that number of quantity we should order. If you order more than that, your holding cost will increase. If you order less than that, your ordering cost will increase. In order to solve the issue of holding cost and ordering cost, we find the points where cost is economic. All right, it means we have a low cost. So that's point is the best point. We should order. So this is called economic order quantity. So with the help of this method, we can find out the solution of the problem of holding and the ordering cost, right? So that's all about your inventory management system. All right. So now we move on to the next, the third types of management accounting types. Two types of management accounting system. So we have number 3, which is price optimizing system or approach. Now, what is price optimizing system? Price optimizing system or approach, it's a mathematical approach that's basically consider the demand to determine the price of product, right? I repeat, price optimizing is it's a system which consider the demand to determine what should be the price, right? We use demand to find what should be the price of the product. Of course, if my product has a high demand in the markets, I will maximize the price, all right? If my product has a low demand in the markets, so I want customer buy my products, so I will reduce the price, right? So this kind of strategy is called price optimizing system, right? So with the help of this price optimizing system, we can increase or decrease our profit, right? Because if price increase, right? If your price increase, your profit will increase too, right? Price decrease, your profit will decrease too. So that's price optimizing system also affect the profitability of the organization. So that's the basic ideas behind a price optimizing system, all right? So that's the general view about this optimizing system. Now, how company determine the price, right? So now the question is, how can we determine the price of product? So what's gonna be price of this product? How are we gonna estimate it, right? The price, in order to estimate the price, company apply a method to estimate the price. That method called cost plus pricing method. Company generally apply this approach to determine how much gonna be the price of this pen. I'm planning to sell this pen. What gonna be the price of this pen? How can I estimate it, right? So I apply this method, right? So of course we have a formula. Formula is a total cost plus markup is equals to the price. If I want to estimate the price, I will find out total cost, then I will find out markup and add them. And we come up with the price or market price that company uses to sell in a markets. All right. Okay. So what is the total cost? Total cost is the cost which is combination of fixed cost and variable cost. Step cost, semi-variable, all here. Let's say combination of fixed and variable is the total cost, or manufacturing, non-manufacturing, total cost. Right. Now we know that because we're gonna spend money on material, labor, overheads, marketing, advertising, and so on. So all cost will be here, right? Total cost. Now, markup. What is the meaning of markup? Markup means your expected profit, the profit you wanna earn on per units. All right. The profit you want to earn on one unit, that's called the expected profit, the profit you want to make, right? So you're going to add them, these two numbers, whatever number you get it here, is the price that you use it to sell in a markets, right? So let me give you one example. For example, my fixed cost is a $3 per products, per unit. And my variable cost is $4, right? So my total cost is $7, right? So let's say I want to make my expected profit is, let's say, it's a 20% of total cost. 20% of total cost. So my total cost is $7. 20% is a 1.4. All right. So that's my markup. That comes in my pockets. That's my profit. Right. So what will be the price? 7 plus 1, 8. $8.4 is the price that I will use to sell product, or the price that customer will pay. That's the ideas to estimate the price of products that company normally, this kind of approach or this kind of strategies company normally apply when company is estimating the price of the product, right? So I guess it's all about today's session. Yes, that's all about session 2. Right? So session 2 is finished. Right? So do you have any question regarding this session?
Teacher, how about job costing system?
Yeah, job costing system still left. Yes, that's right, but I think we don't have enough time to cover it today. Yes, we have a job costing system also left. So this one, job costing system, we will cover, we call it job costing system, or, okay, so, or costing method. Job costing system, or we call it costing method. So we have around 5 costing methods. We have 5 costing methods: job costing, batch costing, contract costing, process costing, and service costing. All right. So all these things we will study in our next lecture. All right. So we will study in our next lecture, and then we will move on to the next. Right. So, any questions you have? Anybody has any question regarding session 2 or session 1?
Can you explain a little bit about cost plus pricing method? I didn't understand this one.
Okay. Now, cost, so I repeat, cost plus pricing is the method. With the help of that method, we're gonna understand what will be the price of this product. So, for example, take it very simple. For example, you just started a business. Your business is to cook a food and deliver food to the people, all right? Or your business is about making a homemade coffee, and you sell this coffee to the people outside, all right? So you know how to make a coffee, all right? You will buy some beans and some machines and stuff. Your coffee is ready to sell, all right? And you know how much money you spend. You have spent electricity, maybe you hire some people, you bought coffee beans, and so on. So you already understand what is the total cost that you spend to make this coffee. So let's say, take it same way, you spend $7 to make a coffee, right? And of course, you're not gonna charge $7 from the customer. Of course not. Why? Because you know that price minus cost is profit, right? If price, we also call it selling price. If price is more than cost, we have profit. If price less than cost, we have loss, right? If price equals to cost, we have break even. Break even means no profit, no loss. You don't have profit and you don't have loss, right? You started a coffee business, right? And of course, your business has a profit. So if your cost is a $7, you will decide price is more than $7. All right, more than $7. So how can you decide the price? And of course, you will calculate your profit. This is completely up to you, how much profit you want to earn it. All right, how much profit you want to earn it. So your cost of coffee is the $7, and let's say you want to earn $2 profit. All right, you want to earn $2 profit, so you will charge $9 from a customer. You will charge a $9 from customer. But for example, customer order, I want to buy a coffee. How much do you sell? And you say that I sell $9. And customer said, oh, that's expensive. Sorry, I can't buy. Hang on. All right. So now what are you going to do? You know that it's a it's a $9 and it's too much. So what are you going to do in this situation? Can you change your cost? Can you change a cost? It depends. If your cost is controllable, you may change it, but you worry. If you change the cost, you change the material, your coffee quality reduce. So you don't want to change the cost. You don't want to change anything here. So what you will do, you will change the profit. You will reduce your profit. So let's say you reduce your profit to the $1. And now your price become $8. And then customer call, how much? $8. So, okay, I will buy, right? Because it's cheaper than $9. So it's cheaper than someone else who is selling outside. Some outsider are selling $8.5 and you will keep it $8. So the idea is that if you want to estimate the price, you need to find out your total cost first and then markup. All right, and then you come up with the price. If you think the price is still too high, then you have to reduce your markup. All right, but make sure don't reduce it too much so it turns into a break even. Right, it turns into a break even. So don't do that. Right, so that's the ideas. Right, did you understand?
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
Someone asked me a question about EOQ. How can EOQ determine which is the best model GIT, GSC to apply? We have a formulas to apply economic order quantity, but I may not talk about this one, maybe in the next session or when we do the assignments, then I'll show you the calculations using a EOQ, but it depends upon your assignments. If your assignments, you have a EOQ calculations, then I'll show you calculation. But if your assignments you do not have, so I may not spend much more time on EOQ. Okay, and student asked me, student, one more thing, whenever you ask me any question, please send question to everyone. All right, please send questions to everyone. Don't just send it to me, so other students can also understand what questions or what we are talking about. Because sometimes if I directly read the question and then I answer, but other students, they don't understand. Right? So make sure when you ask me a question, you send it everyone so other students can see. So which method is the better? Of course, JIT is better than JIC. Why? Because we're gonna save some kinds of unnecessary cost, right? Because if you're holding too much raw material and there is no any demand in the markets, what will be happen? Your raw material will expire and your cost increase. So in order to avoid such kinds of costs, we're less likely to apply JIC approach. JIT is a much more advanced method. Another name of JIT is a pull technique. Means a pull material for usage which relate to the market demand of the products. If we have a high demand in the market, we buy more material to produce it. Low demand in the markets, we buy less material to produce it. But GIC is not like that. GIT, no matter high or low demand in the markets, they always buy a large quantity of material. Right? So that's the ideas behind a GITGS. So is it okay with everybody? Any other question?
When will we get the assignment?
Assignment, hopefully, today is Friday, so hopefully tomorrow. If not tomorrow, next week for sure. All right. One more thing I want to ask you. We have a class next week, Tuesday afternoon, right? I mean, we have an online class next week, Tuesday afternoon, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Are you free? Because actually next week, Tuesday afternoon, only next week, I'm busy. Can I teach you Monday afternoon? You have class Monday afternoon?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
We have class on Monday afternoon.
Okay. And how about Wednesday afternoon?
We are free.
You are free on Wednesday afternoon?
Yes.
So can I teach you next week? Can I teach you Wednesday afternoon from like the same time today? Quarter to
Yes.
3 to 5 p.m. Is it okay with everybody?
Okay.
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 So next week, I will teach you Wednesday afternoon and Friday afternoon, like as today. Is it okay for you if I change it to Wednesday and Friday? Is it okay?
Yes, okay.
So every week until we open the schools, so I will teach you online Wednesday and Friday afternoon. So 2:45 to 5 p.m. Is it okay? So, okay. So I'll see you next week, Wednesday afternoon. All right. So we stop here. I'll see you next week. And one more thing, do you have my email address?
Yes.
Do you have my email address? Everybody has my email address?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, some of you don't have, so I'll write down here. That's my email address. I will also send you email because I'm recording this session. I will upload this session and then I will send you a recording version of this session. So whenever I give you any online session, I will record it. So you can watch it later. If anything you missed or anything, you can watch it again. All right. So I will send you this recording session today or tomorrow. All right. So you can watch it again if anything is unclear to you. All right. And when you send me email, if you have any question, and you send me email, make sure you send me your email title, your subject.
Teacher,
Yeah.
can you check my attendance because I cannot connect to the Zoom when you're checking.
Okay. Have to find. Wait.